to youth leaders, diplomats, technocrats, and future change makers. We unveil the wisdom.
Orúkọ mi ni Olúṣẹ́gun Ọlákúnlé Jr. Mo ń play fún tíìmù FC Krasnodar ní Russia. Playing for the national team, it's all players want to play for the national team. So finding myself now in the Super Eagles, I think it's a privilege and it's an honor for me because it's not by my power or by my play. But I believe I can do better, and I have to show myself, and I have to show the quality I have, and I have to show everyone that I'm ready to play for the Super Eagles. When I received the message, I was thinking it was too early for me, but my family told me that no, not too early, because you just have to go there and do your job as usual, as a professional you are. When I played for the under-15 back then in 2017, it was like a child game then, so nothing serious then. But when I went for the trial in under-17 2019, so going to a trial where about thousands of players are invited to the camp, that's been very hard and very intensive then, but I was able to show myself and to show what I can do. So, and going for the qualifier, then we were able to qualify for the Nations Cup, which I won the highest goal scorer back then. So going for the Nations Cup also, we were able to take the ticket to the World Cup in Brazil 2019, which I was there also, but we were knocked out at the round of 16. Every player in the local side wants to play at the top level. So coming to Denmark and make my first debut there, it's like a big privilege for me and a great opportunity for me. So I think it was so good playing in Denmark because I played about 24 games and I had 18 goals with 6 assists. So it was a great season for me back then.
Hello, everybody. Yeah. Yes. Captain.
All right, I want to say welcome to today's edition of the Locker Room and Voice of the People TV. I hope you enjoyed the sight and sound from Russia as the Super Eagles prepare for the game against the Russian national football team. It promises to be exciting on the show this afternoon, and we also have to take that interview of Olakunle Olusegun, the man who has been invited to play with the Super Eagles. He's a right back. He currently plays for Krasnodar out there in the Russian league, and hopefully we'll get to see some action from him when the Super Eagles trade tackles with Russia on the 6th of June in a very interesting friendly game. My name is Jerry Alpelihai reporting for football duties. It promises to be exciting as a full house. Ikechukwu makes a return this lovely afternoon. And of course, still brimming on the excitement that Bruno Fernandes stays. But it is what it is. It's great to have you join us once again on Locker Room.
It's good to have. I don't know, Jerry. Anytime you start this much time.
All right, keep it cool. We are good.
Okay. Good evening, Jerry. Good evening to our viewers. Jerry, I don't know why you always want to, poke me with Bruno Fernandes transfer, but then it's another very good day to be here to talk sport and football in particular. Of course, it's so good to actually see the young man, Olusegun Jr., the Krasnodar right back. And it's going to be a very interesting time. I mean, knowing that we have a player in Ola, who is also a very good exceptional player in that particular position. We need someone who is also going to step up. He's quite young. I think it's about 23 or thereabout. Yeah, so which means he's going to actually be around for quite a while. Of course, I just hope he step up the ladder and give us a very good game against Russia. And that's what exactly I'm hoping to see. And of course, yes, for transfer, I want to see United do very well. And please don't even get me going with United stories today, please.
All right, definitely we'll get to that point of the show where we'll do that. My one guest to join us virtually, and of course, we're just talking about Olakunle Olusegun, the man who has joined the Super Eagles. And interestingly, he was born on the 23rd of April 2002. He's just 23 years of age. Mywa, it's great to have you join us on Locker Room.
Well, it's always amazing to be here. The Super Falcons, they did us well yesterday, dispatching the Cameroonians 2-0. Rasheedat Ajibade proving to lead from the front on the scoreboard for 2 goals. And it's a huge, step up for our girls, and I hope they keep up the momentum. We are looking forward to the friendly matches, the one against Russia. And I hope, the new invitees, they can, lay a claim to the shirt in the Super Eagles. I mean, oftentimes we see established players not give their best. Let's see what the new lads can bring to the team. And for Manchester United, well, the story goes on. The struggle continues, as they say. Aluta continua, the struggle continues. Thank you for having me, Jerry.
All right, and of course, let's start off with the big story where a former assistant to Finidi George, Yema Olarewaju, claims that Super Eagles players lack the desire to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. Olarewaju made the statement during a radio interview citing the players' mentality as the reason for their poor performance in World Cup qualifiers. He pointed to the team's draws and losses, including a 1-1 draw against South Africa and a 2-1 defeat to Benin Republic. Olarewaju alleged that some players were more interested in clubbing than preparing for crucial matches. He claimed that while players from other countries like Achraf Hakimi from Morocco reported to their national teams on time, Nigerian players were often late or unenthusiastic. According to Olarewaju, this lack of commitment and focus is why the team struggles to perform well in important games. And the former assistant comments suggests that the players' attitude and priorities may be hindering the team's chances of success. And Olerawaju's claim has sparked discussion about the team's dynamics and motivation, raising questions about what might be driving the players' behavior and how it can be addressed to improve the team's performance. This is a big update. But for those of us who knows what's happening in the camp of the Super Eagles, this is not news. Majorly the reason why the players did not perform in the World Cup qualifiers was because they did not have a coach who would instill discipline. You could see the behavior of the players is different from when Pesero was there, when he left, and when Finidi was in charge, before Austin Eguavon came in, and now with Eric Chell. The behavior under Pesero, okay, they know this is a white professional. Let's try as much as possible to keep it professional. When he left, there was no coach for a while. They were just bringing assistants. They brought in Finidi George. The players were not happy. Mostly the senior boys. They invited them for friendlies. They did not use them. They started having issues. The players felt that they don't need to respect Finidi George. At the end of the day, we saw lackluster performances. Then Eguavon came in. We could see their performance in the Nations Cup qualifiers. You saw some bit of seriousness. The enthusiasm came back. But along the line, then they came back again to the World Cup qualifiers. There are a lot of trajectory that shows that the NFL contributed immensely in making sure that the players were not enthusiastic enough. They felt they could get away with a lot of things, and so many nasty behavior, and even up to senior players like Victor Osimhen was not left out. Players would prefer to go and club a day to the day they're invited to camp. You will see them in clubs getting high and enjoying themselves, and you expect them to bring that top performance from their club side to the national team.
Yes, that's what you get, Jerry, when there's absolutely no punishment for offense. And also, again, that's what you get where there seems to be, where a system is broken. I mean, over the years, this is not even new to the Super Eagles. We've seen cases of Super Eagles players back in the days. These are one of the issues that actually destroyed our 2002 team. Although that team was very much under the hands of the then late Amadou Shuaibu and Big Boss Stephen Keshi. But then the players were also very disciplined, like Olise and co. But there are some players who seems to be just a call away from camp. They have that button they can always press, and then they always get invited. And that's one of the problems Olise had with the then football governing body, Nigerian football governing body. Talking about the likes of Celestin Bayero, who rarely come to qualifiers or friendly games, but they just want part of tournament. Now back to these guys. You see, Jerry, Coach Finidi George is an experienced coach in terms of the football, right? He's played the game to the highest level. He's won the UEFA Champions League. He's won the Nations Cup. So there's absolutely nothing about football you're about to tell him. He's one of the best right wingers in his days. And of course, he's got quality. He's shown that he's got what it takes to actually lead the Super Eagles. Because prior to him getting the job, remember he was the coach of Enyimba. He won the league in 2023. And of course, that's what landed him the job of the Super Eagles. Now, what made the players, what made the boys, failed or refused to respect him? These are the questions you should be asking. Now, let's go back to the days of the Finidis, the days of Olise and co. You remember again that Finidi George was the assistant skipper to Sunday Olise, right? These guys are core disciplinarians. This is exactly why Sunday Olise also did not succeed in the Super Eagles, because he's a core disciplinarian. He's not willing to actually bend or massage the ego of the boys. And that was why he lost the dressing room, because the big boys started, looking at, like, come on, we are big. We've trained other top managers in Europe. Yes, we respect you, but then you have to really respect us. So that man management became a problem. And that's exactly what, Finidi George and, of course, Sunday Olise lacks. It's not about just being a very good coach. It's also about man management. People are different. You have to understand how to actually manage people. If you can manage people very well, you definitely will succeed. And that's one thing that Eric has done so well. Because when he got the job, you notice how he started moving around, going to these players. He spotted the big boys, tried to massage their ego, and then, these guys are now really willing and ready to play for him. Let's also go back to the Chelsea side that won 2012 UEFA Champions League. You remember Di Matteo just got on the job. I think barely about 3 months into the job, and of course he won the UEFA Champions League. How did he do it? The guys were willing to actually give it all for him, because what? He understood that these guys are actually big in the game. Di Matteo is also a very big player in his time, right? But then he understood that these guys are actually the big boys in this era, and then he respected them. He created a line where, of course, yes, I might have been there before you guys, but then this is your time, and then he respected he managed these guys and he was able to actually get the best out of them. Of course, we want to say luck played a very good, huge part of that team, but winning the UEFA Champions League. But then they did, the unthinkable against Napoli, and they came back. They won the UEFA Champions League. So this comment of Finidi George assistant talking about Coach Yemi, who succeeded him, with the Imba job. Yes, it's actually true because the guys who were obviously, uninterested to actually play for the Super Eagles at that point. They just want to see him fail, and this is what players do across the world, not just in Nigeria, even in club level. They do it. They do it to actually kick out managers. The likes of Fabregas, Diego Costa and co. They did it to actually kick out Jose Mourinho in the second spell when he returned to Chelsea. So we've seen players do this all of the time. It's all about man management, and yes, what you said is actually true. But then the question is, what led to the fact that these guys became, unwilling to actually give out their best for the Super Eagles is what we should be dealing with. First of all, we need a manager who understands how to, manage people. Also, we also need, is a rule and structure that will also make the players in return respect the managers. Because what Osimhen did, with Coach Finidi George, I don't think he would have done it with foreign managers, and I don't even think that if he had done it elsewhere, he wouldn't actually be facing the stick or the hammer as regards punishment for his actions. But then what are we having today? Nobody is talking about it because he came back and he's scoring. So all of this is a systemic problem. We have to deal with it, and then before we can start talking about whether a manager is actually good enough or not.
All right, Maiwa, what will make the players not to be interested, not to be enthusiastic of qualifying for the World Cup? This is a team that was not at the World Cup in 2022. If the players are still showing lackluster behavior towards qualifiers, then that means we are right to say they don't deserve to be at the World Cup.
First of all, I don't think we deserve to be at the World Cup. The way we run our football is not so fantastic. I want to slightly disagree with the assistant coach of, Yeni. I want to slightly disagree with him. And it's very simple. The blame should be placed on the NFF. We have people who run our football that don't know anything about football. They were the one that caused this. Finidi never had their backing. And that was the reason why, indiscipline first started in that particular team. Sports minister came to advocate for Osimhen. Ikechukwu said something that is very, very important. If Osimhen had behaved the way he behaved to Finidi with an FA like the English FA, do you think that Osimhen will be part of the Super Eagles again, irrespective of how important he is? No. The answer will be no. Will a sane, football body take 12 months to hire a coach? Will a sane, football body hire a coach and not give the coach the backing? And that is the reason why a lot of them can misbehave. Let me tell you something. The misbehavior, how Osimhen misbehaved and he was forgiven and everything swept under the rug. Do you think other players are not watching? Other players will still misbehave and they have an accident in Osimhen. And that's just the bottom line. An NFL that has been in existence for over 78 years that does not have a code of conduct. Remember the person for the NFL came out during that saga, said there was no code of conduct. How can you be running football for over 78 years? You have been in existence for over 78 years. There is no code of conduct of how players should behave when they are being summoned to play for the Super Eagles. Before we go to the coach, things need to be put in place. In as much as you want to fault Finidi, his man management needs work and the rest of that. The fact is this: if the powers that be do not support you as a coach, you can't do anything. And that is what happened in the case of Osimhen. The sports minister undermined the coach by saying that you should forgive Osimhen, despite the fact that Osimhen disrespected Finidi George. So before we start, going to the players, we need to look at our structure first. We need to fix our structure before it will trickle down to the players. For heaven's sakes, we don't have a code of conduct. How do you expect this? The NFF needs to look inward. There needs to be structures put in place to ensure that our football is run the way it's supposed to be run. Then all these things will fall in place. If we still continue to run our football the way we are running it at the moment, we'll continue to talk about this, this lackluster behavior of our players. And it comes from the top. Until we fix our football body, we can't fix the issues with the players.
All right, and of course, they say the ball stops at the head, and of course, they say uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. But we've seen several situations where Gasol has stylishly, slickly put himself out of the blame situation, even most especially the NFL. But on this platform, we've continued to call out the NFL for their inability to administer football the right way. And hopefully this ugly trend, this ugly tenure of Gasol will end very soon. Because if you ask me, it looks like waiting for one president that is failing to complete 4 years before anybody will call him to action. What happens to checks and balances? You know, when the board is not performing, okay, maybe when eventually the reality dawns on Nigerians, most especially that South Africa game. I said it before we played the Rwanda game, that if anything happens that we don't get 6 points, as far as I'm concerned, they should kiss the World Cup goodbye. And with the way things are going, okay, we have a caller who's live with us. Let's take the call. Hello, you're welcome to Locker.
Yeah, this is Abe calling from Manchester, United Kingdom.
All right, Abe, great to have you from Manchester.
Yeah, regarding what one of your guests was saying about players not respecting their coach or something like that.
Yes.
You know, let me flash you guys back to when Nigeria played Portugal. Go and watch that match and see what Finidi did. Finidi, I don't know how he relegated himself to the background. He was dragging Pepe, you know Pepe, the Portuguese player. He was dragging Pepe's shirt with Moses Simon. Pepe was telling, what is he called? What is his name? Finidi, that let me give it to your player now. This is the guy that played. How do you expect players to respect a coach like that? I mean, with what he has achieved in his life, dragging Pepe jersey. What has Pepe achieved in his life? I think God forgive me for saying that. That Finidi has never achieved in his life. Where was Pepe when Finidi was playing? No, my brother, tell me now.
Yes, I think I want to agree with you on that, because definitely
Finidi relegated himself.
Yeah,
Already.
That was also another point. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, if you don't respect yourself, the person will not respect you.
Sure.
What is the Pepe jersey you are dragging with Moses Simon? Do you even have to request for Pepe jersey? What do you want to do with it? If you put yourself in a situation where people will respect you, they will respect you, even if you don't have shish in your account.
Yeah.
You understand? But when you relegate yourself, come on.
Because, respect is reciprocal. Yeah, definitely. I agree
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, my brothers.
All right, thank
have
you.
Have a good one. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Yes. There were a lot of instances that Finidi George brought himself down. Yeah. And the way he handled the friendlies and even that Portugal game, I've even forgotten about that incident. Because imagine the message to send to other players that this is who Finidi is. He wants to take the shine off the players. He wants to be known. And, all of this, I don't know, with a bit of jealousy, like maybe they are earning much more than when I used to play. Imagine Finidi George kind of talent is available at this moment. He'll be going for roughly 100 or 80 million pounds. You get so along the line, he didn't manage his relationship with the players.
Exactly what I was saying. Talking about non-management.
Respect. Yeah,
yes,
he lost respect inside of the players.
Because if you must handle big players. I mean, you've played the game before, so you should know better. If you must handle big players, you must understand that every big player comes in with a level of ego. Even when they are very humble, there is this ego that they naturally have because of the level they are at that point. So you need to also understand how to actually manage them as humans first before managing them as players. And that's one thing that he lacks. And exactly what I was talking about earlier. But again, it doesn't change the fact that yes, he's got it wrong with managing them. But then the body that is that hired him should have also protected him, because whatever it is that's happening to him, he is the image of the body right there in the dressing room. So they should protect him, because whatever it is the boys throw at him, they actually throwing, at this employer, and that's exactly where the problem is. So I mean, it goes back to what I was saying about how Chelsea actually won the Champions League in 2012 because of man management, and exactly how Nigeria has actually go down the drain. Nigerian football has gone down the drain since the Nations Cup final. So it's still very much the same thing. It's so sad, and that's why Eric Shearer is actually kind of doing something that is actually if you look at the players, they seem to be happy, and you see a semblance of harmony in the camp at this point, and this
he is earning their respect.
Yes, and this sort of team, whether they have the talent or not, these are the kind of teams that go on to win laurels, because they are actually happy and they want to give it all for their manager.
And they're willing to listen to the manager because they feel that he has what it takes to really take them to the promised land. All right, still talking about the Super Eagles, where the coach Eric Chell regrets playing a Getafe midfielder Uche Crisantos in the Unity Cup final against Jamaica. Uche had just arrived at the team's camp late and had only one training session before the game. Chell admitted that it was a crazy decision to play him considering his limited preparation time. And despite the doubt, Uche scored the decisive penalty kick, securing Nigeria's 5-4 win in the penalty shootout after a 2-2 draw in regulation time. And Chell praised Uche's bravery and energy, noting that he brought a positive vibe to the team. And of course, Mayowa, definitely it was a big gamble playing Uche Crisantos in that game. Had it been he did not play well, definitely we will say him coming late, not training with the boys was a factor. And the players would have not been happy if he didn't play well eventually. That why bring a player who didn't train with us from the beginning to play in a game where they've worked so hard to be in the final? So it was a big gamble. And though it worked out, but I think we shouldn't encourage players coming late to camp. Maiwa.
Well, I think for this one, Chair is wrong. And this is how you don't just lose the respect of player, in a day. It's a gradual process. And if it continues in this route, I think, at the end of the day, we lose the respect of players. And that's just the honest truth. What the message he has sent so far is this. If you are playing in Europe and you come late, I can give you a waiver and I will play you. And that's just the honest truth. Yes, Crisantos did well in the game. He was one that scored the winning goal. And he gave, we saw bits and pieces of what he could do. And, if he had trained more with the team, probably would have been able to gel more with the team. He gave an above average performance in that particular game. However, we are just talking about the issue of discipline. You cannot reward a player that is not part of the team. Remember, before he featured in that particular game, there were news that it seems Crisantos wanted to, snub the Super Eagles and the rest of that, and it seems like Chair wanted to blacklist him and the rest of that. So what changed in less than 24 hours?
Yeah, I think there were stories that he actually had visa issues. Anyway, anybody can have visa issues. Let's say we'll forgive him for that. But I think there was some bit of misinformation between him and the camp of the Super Eagles.
Yeah, but the thing is this: the Unity Cup has been slated for May 28th since all these days. Yeah, it's not an important thing, and I'm 100% sure he would have been informed that he would be part of the team before even the journalist knows about it. So yeah. I don't think that's an excuse. Bottom line, a chair messed up. Should have played him.
Mayowa, let's take one more call before we go into that. We already have a caller joining us. Hello, you're welcome to Locker Room.
Yeah, good morning. This is Tari from Chicago.
All right, Tari. It's been a while.
Yeah, well, you guys, I commend you guys that are very doing good work. I mean, I want to comment a little bit on that Crisantos. I think, we don't know everything on these people. We don't get all the information. I look at what you guys are saying last week too, when Mr. Mayowa say, it's disrespectful or whatever. I think the guys already communicated with the coach before. That's the reason why he give him the privilege. That come, don't worry, just want to see you. Because remember, this guy said he doesn't want to use this 20 match or whatever with no cup. I mean, he just want to see all the players. He just trying to look at all the players. I think that's the reason why he let me play. So that's what I can say.
Okay.
About the finishing, whatever, I mean, NFL, like Mr. Mayowa said the other time, it's the same this like maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Like NFL is the problem we have. They are the problem we have in Nigerian team. It's obvious right now. It's very, very obvious. Look at it. I don't think their hand is on this friendly match like that. If you look at the friendly match, the one they play in London, look at how the players are happy too. If you look at those players, they're happy. Even though all of them, there's no Osimhen, there's no whatever, they're still happy.
Yeah.
The NFL. That's the reason why. If you guys remember the last time I said, can we fire them? I know we can't fire them. I know the answer by myself, but I'm just thinking like, okay, what's going on? I mean, that's the only thing I can say about that. Thank you guys for the opportunity.
All right, thank you very much, Taurid. Definitely, we appreciate your contribution on the program. Okay, let's leave Chrysanthus issues because we're already getting some very interesting comments on YouTube. And you can also join us on LCL TV channel 264. That's where we are on LCL TV. You can also watch us on YouTube. And those who are watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Definitely, we appreciate that. Those who are watching us on YouTube. Well, let's talk about Atlanta winger Ademola Lookman credits playing for the Super Eagles with boosting his career. The 27-year-old, born in England to Nigerian parents, switched allegiance from England in 2022. Lookman shone at the 2023 African Cup of Nations, scoring 3 goals and providing 1 assist in 7 appearances. Imagine he made this decision long time ago. The sky definitely would have been a stepping point. But I think he has come out to admit it that was the best decision he made in his life. Within the space of 1 year, he has gone ahead to win the African Footballer of the Year. What more can you say about such a big decision?
Well, Nigeria wins, Ademola Lookman wins, and everybody's happy. His presence has been so key for the Super Eagles at this point. And of course, playing alongside Victor Osimhen has really shown that, yes, Nigeria has, immense talent. Osimhen was the African Footballer of the Year before he took over, the award. And of course, this year we'll also be having one Nigerian also among the last 3. I want to believe so. So it shows that, yes, we've really got talent. And the fact that himself and likes of Lion as part of the Super Eagles, yes, the big question of, agreeing to play for the Super Eagles late also goes back to how we've managed to actually, put our house in order. If our house is in order, players will definitely be interested in playing for the Super Eagles when they are very, very young. But then the likes of Ademola Lookman, his talent is not hidden. After they won the Under-20 World Cup, is the likes of Ademola Lookman and Solanke. We saw, these guys, they've got quality, right? But the thing is, the house, where they're actually playing at the point in England, they saw how the structure is. Everything is comfortable for them. They know that this is a very good place to actually play, and they want to give it all. But then move to the Super Eagles where, everything seems to be, different from where you're coming from. It's a very big challenge. Trust me, whether we want to fault them for agreeing to play for Super Eagles late or not, it doesn't change the fact that this thing has to be, mental. Just imagine someone who is, used to actually getting the very best medical, care in a very good facility. And then you just, travel home to the village, and then, one primary health center, you just walk into that place, there's no light, there's no fan, and you will be so uncomfortable, sitting there. That's exactly what happens when you come into a place where, seems to be, different from where you're coming from. And Nigeria seems to be like, a second choice. And when you're a second choice, you definitely take anything. Ademola Lookman is just one of those very, exceptional opportunities or luck that we've got among players who have switched allegiance. Over the years, we've had players switch allegiance who chose Nigeria second choice, and they are not even, they didn't even get to hit the ceiling or give Nigeria any good time. But how long are we going to continue like this to get players, who have chosen us as second choice? This calls for, serious reflection. We need to start thinking, because we don't get to see players like Ademola Lookman every time. Sometimes these sort of players that are so good, when they decide to actually, dump Nigeria and this country decide to actually pick them, just imagine Ademola Lookman playing for England, and then, with this quality that he's shown, he ends up, being one of their key attacker. We know we've missed another talent. Look at like Bukayo Saka. I mean, why shouldn't we have a player like that? If Bukayo Saka happened to be playing, for example, let's say Saka is a British man, let's say he's a British man and was born, the English Premier League is not as developed rather as the Nigerian league. Let's say Saka grew up there and then Nigerian national team is calling him. There's no way he wouldn't have agreed to come over here because this is a bigger stage, right? We've not placed ourselves in an opportunity, in a position where these players will always want to choose us. And for me, I'm happy for him because, I mean, at the end of the day, he made a wrong decision first. He changed to the right decision and became, success for him. I'm so happy for him.
All right, Mario, I know that you are one of those who doesn't like the fact that Nigeria is a second choice for some of these players. But put yourself in their shoes. Would you blame them? Because when the way our football is being run, it doesn't make it appealing most of the times for players to pick an opportunity to play for England or pick Nigeria ahead of England. Definitely, if you are in their shoes, definitely you want to consider where your bread will be well buttered than where it will be roughed and you pick it on the floor and want to put it in your mouth.
Well, what I'm going to say now might anger a bit of people, and it's just the truth. The bottom line is I've said it over and over again. Ademola Lookman is my town person, and I'm very happy for him that he has been able to achieve a whole lot for Nigeria, switching and just winning the African Footballer of the Year. But I still hold it against him. You don't make Nigeria a second choice. We have our peculiar situation. See, the thing is this, we should have a policy. If you make Nigeria a second choice, you should not be welcome to the national team. And that's just the honest truth. Ikechukwu said something that's very, very important. And, if you look at our national team in the past 15 years, we've practically relied on second choices from other countries. Those are the people we have in our team. If Ademola Lookman was good enough, and I'm not saying he's not good enough at the moment, if he was good enough at that particular time, he will never choose Nigeria. When Tammy Abraham was good enough to play for Nigeria, he said no, he wanted to choose England. England capped him once. The performance has dipped now. He has nowhere to run to. So the bottom line is this: see, a whole lot of these guys that switch, they only switch because they feel there's a place for them. There's a place that accepts second choice. There's a place that accepts Tokumbo. We've done what we do in terms of importing Tokumbo cars. We started doing it with players because if you don't choose Nigeria first, as far as I'm concerned, you are a Tokumbo player, and that's just the honest truth. And this calls again goes back to those running our football. Why must we as a country, over 200 million people, why must we as a country rely on players that make Nigeria a second choice? I understand the peculiarity. I understand there's a lot of disturbing things. If you look at our football sometimes, you want to scratch your head, and if they explain it to you, you might not. But the bottom line is this: if you are a Nigerian, whether you are born abroad, Nigeria should always come first for you, especially when you want to represent the country. Not that a whole lot of them, if they have the opportunity to change back the hands of time, and if you put the two countries in front of them, if you ask Ademola Lookman today, with what you have, if England comes for you right now, with the way you are performing right now, will you go back to England? I can bet you might not want to say it, but we choose England, and that's the solid state of our football. In as much as Ademola Lookman has done so well for himself, I think those running our football, they need to do better. There should be no reason why somebody who is picking Nigeria as second choice should be welcomed into our national team. They should be welcome as a fan supporting our team, but not to represent the badge, and that's just the honest truth.
All right, honest truths, bitter to swallow. And someone once told me and he said that if they explain Nigerian to you and you understand, that means they are not really explaining Nigeria. They are explaining something else. It is what it is. you take that and try and understand it. But taking a look at Nigerian football stars, Victor Osimhen and Moses Simon are making headlines in the transfer window. Galatasaray Vice President Niazi believes Osimhen will leave the club for a lucrative deal this summer, citing financial reasons as the likely motivator. Meanwhile, John Obi Mikel hopes Osimhen would join a Premier League club like Arsenal or Manchester United instead of moving to the Saudi League. Mikel expressed his desire to see Osimhen in the Premier League, believing the striker still has much to offer in Europe. Definitely I agree with that one. It looks like they talk about Osimhen coming to the Premier League is getting dimmer by the day. I think I saw one news that Liverpool are interested in him. And I think in the minds of every Liverpool fan, any club fan, as far as the Premier League is concerned, that needs a striker will fancy the chance of getting the quality of Victor Osimhen in their team.
True, and his wage will always be
an issue. Yeah,
will always be a problem, and this is why I say this is where serious conversation needs to be had with him. This is where the idea of who is actually managing him needs to come in. This is the idea where this is the time where the question of who is Osimhen's agent? How is it thinking? Right? Is it that you don't believe that Osimhen has got what it takes to actually hit the ceiling in his first season in England and then demand for bigger wage? These are the questions we should be asking, because players like Osimhen, you don't get to see them all the time. Strikers are not, strikers that can guarantee you 20 league goals. They are not always common. So when you have a player like this, it's a very big market. It's easy for an agent to actually sell. Now, we saw the story of Jadon Sancho, how he was actually demanding about 300 from Chelsea, and Chelsea is saying, no, we cannot pay you that. And I look at Chelsea's wage structure. Many of these top clubs in Europe have a certain wage structure. They've pegged
if he was good enough, I think they wouldn't mind. This is a player who is majorly a bench warmer.
Jerry, no, what I'm saying is this. Many clubs, top clubs in Europe, including Chelsea, have a particular wage structure. Chelsea would have actually, signed him like 2 seasons ago.
If he was worth it.
No, I'm not talking about Jadon Sancho. I'm talking about Osimhen.
Oh,
yes. Chelsea would have actually signed him last season before he actually went to Turkey. But the thing is this, right? Chelsea have a certain wage structure that they want to actually maintain.
They've already wasted a lot of money.
You understand? So. These clubs have a wage structure they want to maintain. Now, for me, this is what I'm going to be thinking if I were Osimhen's agent. Say, come, you want to remain in Europe, this is what we have to do. You can even go, have a conversation with the club and say, okay, we are willing to take pay cut. If this guy hits 25 goals in his first season, this is what we're actually going to be demanding from his second season. This is a conversation that can be had. Then that's going to be a motivation for him to actually, push more to get more goals for the team. But then the idea of he just demanding this club will also run what we call risk assessment. What if he gets into the team the first season, he gets injured, and then gets a below par performance all through the season, maybe gets about 10 goals. These are the questions you should be thinking. You are a human being. I mean, something can actually happen to you. Nobody's praying for that, but we've seen it happen. I mean, players get knocked out, and over 2 seasons they don't get to play football again. Whose account will that be running on? Is it the clubs that will have to bear the cost of that? So these are the questions we should be asking. The best thing Osimhen should do is either you stay put at Galatasaray, where you feel this is now a home for you, and then demand that they give you a big project by bringing in top players to help you in the UEFA Champions League, so that you can actually go for the biggest gun, which is the Ballon d'Or, or then move to England, where okay, there's stability among top teams there, and then agree on a certain bargain. Say, okay, maybe after one season, if I hit 25 goals or 22 goals, then this is what I'm going to be demanding from my second season. Or then you decide to go to Saudi Arabia, which of course, I'm very much against, because this is his prime. He's got a lot to actually give Europe, and I don't think Osimhen should be anywhere outside Europe at this point.
All right, Mayowa, it also depends on those who is listening to, talking about his agents, those who are advising Victor Osimhen, and those who are going into the room that matters and discuss Osimhen. Because I still have the belief that if he has a very good agent, Osimhen will not be looking for a club side by now. 3 club sides should have been even looking for a signature. And I just recently heard that Real Madrid are going into the transfer market for a striker. So Osimhen should be in that conversation. Somebody should be able to call Florentino Perez and say, I'm speaking on behalf of Osimhen. You say you want a striker. This is what I can give you. These are the guarantees. Why not sign him? Then Florentino Perez will be talking about him. But it looks like nobody is doing that for Osimhen at the moment.
First of all, he needs to change agent. He needs to get the best agent in town. He should not mind the commission the agent would want to get. I think that's the first thing he needs to do. And I don't think I think I have to disagree with Ikechukwu saying that he needs to bring down his wage. I think he's a quality striker. He has proven to be one of the best in Europe.
Yeah.
Napoli ended the run of over 30 years drought. The second season he struggled with a bit in injury, went to Turkey, and look at what he was able to do in Turkey. He has also won another title in Turkey. 2 titles, title in the space of 3 years. He has a space of 3 years. It shows the end of. So I'm talking about bringing down his wage structure. I don't think he has the right agenda. That's why the discussion is rife about he should bring down his request. I think he has gotten to that level to request for what he wants. And if you, Ikechuku said something that's very, very important. How many strikers name at the moment that are at the top who are Osimhen? Remove Salah, remove Martin, then who else? Probably maybe Muslim for who else that's performing. So definitely Osimhen should be commanding the kind of he deserves. What he needs to do is very simple. He should change his agent. The agent that has the connection, they will get him a better club. And for Arsenal, maybe Arsenal fan needs to go and do ritual for them to be able to, sign a striker. I think this is the best time for them to get a striker that can deliver a title to them. And Osimhen is the solution. I hope, Arteta is not stubborn and he looks the way of Osimhen because Osimhen has the quality to deliver titles.
All right, so maybe there's a deal that they shouldn't get a world-class striker.
No.
I don't know. Maybe it's a behind-the-scene agreement that Arsenal should not have a world-class striker, because I don't know.
No, see.
Because I think the last time Arsenal really had a world-class striker for me was during Van Persie time. Yeah, talking about the top 9. As far as I'm concerned, since Van Persie left, they've been getting average strikers. It has become a trend. They went on to Gabriel Jesus and so on and so forth. The list is endless. They're trying to turn Havertz to a striker. Please. I think if I want to discuss Arsenal's problem, 2 hours will not be enough on the program.
Well, true. You see, this case of Victor Osimhen, right? Osimhen's first, this season they won the world. Yes, this is Osimhen and one of the best strikers in the world. You can now come get me. If Osimhen had moved that time, this conversation about his wage structure might not really be a problem. Now, the second season, his stock dropped. Let's be very honest with ourselves. So he cannot. It doesn't matter. That's exactly why his stock dropped.
Yeah,
that's
the reason.
Now, footballers, you're as good as your last season. Except you've done it about 3-4 seasons, then we can say, okay, this guy is arguably who he is.
And it made it look like he was a one-season
exactly,
wonder.
made it exactly my point where I was headed. So it made it look like he was a one-season wonder. Now he moved to Turkish league that is not among the top 5 leagues in Europe.
And he proved that he was not a one-season wonder.
See, Jerry, I agree that he has proven that he's a top striker in Turkey. But the truth is, it's not a major league in Europe. Not one of the top 5 leagues in Europe.
It doesn't have to be
Jerry,
with that top 5
when a player is playing outside the top 5 leagues in Europe, there are certain wages you cannot command. Let's be very honest with ourselves. And this is one of it. A player that is moving from a place where he had a fairly bad season compared to what he did previous season.
He's still a Napoli player. For crying out loud.
No.
He's still a Napoli player.
You cannot judge.
Yes. Yeah. What about those moving? What about those moving from the Portuguese league? Is Portuguese league part of the top 5? So he needs to get.
Tell me one player. Tell me one striker. Tell me one striker.
Darwin Nunes. What is Darwin Nunes doing?
Wait now.
Darwin Nunes. What is he playing?
Tell me how much. What is his wages?
Portuguese league.
He's collecting close to 200,000.
That's what I'm saying. Osimhen is demand asking for about 300, almost 400. That's the problem. No, you can't.
He's what it.
It's not. Coming from where it's coming from, that's the problem. You understand what I'm saying? No, Maiwa, where it's coming from is a problem. If it were France or Italy or Spain, we can have a conversation.
I'm coming from a bigger club.
You're coming from a league outside the top 5.
If you would have stayed in Italy, if not for Conte, he would have stayed in Italy.
Well,
he was ready to play. Conte never wanted him.
Well, that's a problem.
And that was the reason.
And Conte has proven.
And look at the replacement. Lukaku is struggling to offer.
But they won the league, so it doesn't change anything.
They won the league.
Remove Scott McTominay.
That's what I'm saying. Conte proves that without you and Kvaratskhelia, I can say win the league. So that's what matters most to the Napoli fans.
Inter messed up and Scott McTominay. That was the answer. Remove Scott McTominay from that.
It doesn't change anything. It's still the coach. See, Maiwa. It is still the coach.
Well, time fast spent, and Maiwa. Definitely, the argument is very interesting, and of course, it's even boiling on the YouTube platform. He would have loved to go on and on. And Trancy is already throwing the bullets to the Arsenal fans. He says that Arsenal hates winning cup. Trancy, we see you, and of course, Olugbenga, Uchechukwu Regu, who has also been hard on us. But it is what it is. We're just here to give you the information that we have. All right, big thanks to the guys behind the scene for making the show great, as well to Maiwa and Ike Chuku. My name is Jerry Apelihai, saying thanks for being a part of the show. Until we meet again, up next is Political Lens with Chukuma Okoro. My name remains Jerry Apelihai, saying